Yoga is also free. So the purpose of yoga is to make you free, like a free bird. Of course, in the beginning, you need some help to learn how to fly. But once you know how to fly, now you are free.
From Mezclada, this is the Transcendent Farmer podcast, created to inspire and empower the next generation of land stewards, with your host, Emily Reno. Hello, everyone. I'm currently recording from my co-working space here in Pelican Rapids, Minnesota. Yes, I am recording from the U.S. currently. I've got about one more week left here, and then I'm off to Costa Rica once again. And I just want to give a huge shout out to this special space that I'm recording from. I've had the opportunity to have co-working space at this nonprofit called Community and Life Services for the past year and a half or so. And I currently serve as the president of the board of this nonprofit, and they work in the space of recovery and wellness. So folks that may be struggling to find resources, whether it's related to housing or transportation, or maybe are in a position where they're struggling with addiction and need some resources, they provide that to folks, and they do so in a completely confidential way, and they really take a holistic approach to serving people. And that's kind of my interest, and why I felt like it was really in alignment for me to take on this kind of a service position, is that when you look at the whole person, which is very much how I see the opportunity in working with farmers, things can really change. So I want to introduce today's episode with a little bit of context. As always, for those of you who are new to the podcast, welcome. And for those of you who are seasoned, you might have remembered that in some previous episodes, I mentioned talking about my trip to India. So I left the country last November and had been out of the country for about 8 months. And part of my motivation for doing that was to attend a good friend's wedding and then also complete my yoga teacher training. And I'm so grateful for having taken that time for myself. I think a lot of times we find ourselves in positions where if we're taking a break from work, we're forced to out of necessity, whether it's a health related thing or maybe you have children and that kind of thing. But one of the best parts about working remotely is being able to organize my time and my schedule as I please, and really communicating with my clients. I'm not going to be by my computer during this time. This was a really intensive commitment. And in the next episode, where I'm actually being interviewed by my friend, I'll get into the details of what that experience looked like and the very real intensity. But today's episode, I'm interviewing one of my teachers, Sadhu Sri, and he taught philosophy and meditation as part of the course. I think we had at least eight teachers as part of that experience. And he definitely stood out to me. It was one of those deja vu moments, honestly, where I felt like it wasn't the first time that we had crossed paths, which is very strange because I've never been to India before. I'd never seen him before. And we talk about this idea of yoga as a vehicle for freedom, the special connection that farmers have to the land, and really the courage that it takes to truly see yourself, and yoga being a way to do that. So I know you're going to love this conversation. There's so many one-liners in this that it was really hard to do the final editing because I just wanted to pull all of it out. So I know you're probably going to listen to it 2 or 3 times and take something different away every time that you listen to it, because I know I have. And I'm so grateful to share Sadhu Sri's wisdom with all of you today. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Transcendent Farmer podcast. I'm very excited for my guest that I have today. I've had the pleasure of getting to know him over the last 3 weeks as part of my yoga teacher training here in Rishikesh, India. And we're going to dive a little bit deep here into this concept of yoga, which may or may not be a mystery to some of you who are listening. I'm really hopeful that you'll get excited as much as I am about this and its sort of its applications to the field of agriculture. So with that, I want to introduce you to Acharya Sadhu Sri, a distinguished figure in Rishikesh, renowned for his unwavering commitment to the profound realms of yoga philosophy and Indian scriptures. With a notable academic background and an unparalleled passion for the study of ancient wisdom, Acharya Sadhu Sri stands as a beacon of knowledge and enlightenment in the heart of the spiritual capital. Acharya Sadhu Sri's educational journey has been marked by excellence. He holds a master's degree in yogic science and philosophy, a testament to his deep-rooted understanding of both the physical and metaphysical aspects of yoga. Further, his pursuit of wisdom led him to acquire an advanced diploma in Vedanta, Sanskrit, and Indian philosophy from the esteemed Chinmaya International Foundation in Kerala. Additionally, his exploration extended into the world of Buddhism, Vipassana, and Pali language with an advanced diploma from the Vipassana Research Institute in Mumbai. With a thirst for knowledge that knows no bounds, Acharya Sadhu Sri has also received certification in Yoga and Vedanta from the revered Shivananda Yoga Vedanta Forest Academy in Rishikesh. His specialization in Indian scriptures demonstrates a commitment to preserving and passing on the sacred teachings of this land. Acharya Sadhu Sri's dedication to studying and dissemination of these profound teachings makes him a luminous presence in Rishikesh, an individual whose wisdom and insight shine brightly in the realm of spirituality and philosophy. Welcome.
Thank you. Hari Om. Sri Guru Bhyo Namah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm so excited because I love to start the conversation off by just asking people to describe a little bit about their cultural background and upbringing and how that has sort of influenced who you are today.
So I born and brought up in a very traditional Hindu family. The state I born is Gujarat, the west side of India. And as you know, being born in and brought up in a traditional Hindu family, from our childhood, we've been trained in the language, the culture, especially the yoga. So from the childhood, yoga is a very much integrated part of our life. So being a Hindu or a yogi, we see the yoga as a part of our life, not as a part-time practice that you go somewhere and you practice. When we wake up in the morning to go to the sleep, yoga is there in our life all day, all time, every day. And when I more grown up, I did my bachelor, then I went to the UK to pursue my master in business administration. Then I realized the first time what great traditions I come from, the country where it hold all the yoga knowledge. Then I came back and traveled all over India to understand what this great nation is all about. So on my journey, I stayed in the ashrams, I practiced the yoga like a nomad. So my Guruji gave me the name Sadhu. Sadhu literally meaning a wanderer who doesn't stay at the one place. And almost 15, 16 years back in my spiritual journey, I came to Rishikesh and stay in the Sivananda ashrams to practice the yoga and all. And on the way, I tried almost all the spiritual different streams in spirituality, in yoga. And from the beginning till today, only the one journey I'm into, and that is to know thyself by going from outside to going inside. And Rishikesh is the place, I must say, we all find this place as the place where we can continue our spiritual journey and know thy ourself.
I love it. And I think to sort of start things off on a high level for people, because a lot of listeners, they may not be very familiar with yoga. Maybe they've heard of it, maybe they've practiced it, but maybe they haven't. So could you describe what is yoga, and then what is yoga philosophy, and how are those things maybe different from each other?
Right. So yoga, I always see yoga as not some kind of exercise, but yoga is a part of Indian philosophy. So whenever I'm using the word Indian philosophy, we have to understand that the Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, or the Vedanta is even the part of Hindu philosophy. So to understand the yoga, we need to first understand the Indian philosophy or Hindu philosophy. Nowadays, many people don't like to add the yoga with Hindu religion. But I said you are not going to understand the real purpose of yoga without understanding the Hindu religion or the culture. And yoga is a one small part of Hindu religion. Please remember, if you are in India, don't think India is all about only the yoga. India is the most ancient and deep-rooted civilization. One aspect is yoga. Thanks to the Western world, in the last century now, the yoga has been popular as some kind of exercise. Please remember, this is also the part of Indian culture. We always focus on the physical wellness and the mental wellness. So one stream that is called yoga is what is the goal? Is to know thyself. Again, please remember, whether it's a Buddhism, Hinduism or yoga, we all are very much interested in the inner world. So yoga is a tool practicing outside. Physical asana, pranayam and meditation to go more deep into. Yoga is come from a root word yuj. Yuj means yoke. And yoke means to unite. So the one meaning of the word yoga is to unite. What to unite? Mind, body and the self. Another meaning of the word yoga, not many people know, samadhi. Yoga is samadhi, the stillness of the mind. So the purpose of yoga, Indian philosophy, is to reach the stillness of the mind by stilling the body. Please remember, unless and until the outer world is in chaos, that is our physical body, you cannot enter in the inner world, that is the stillness. So yoga is the journey from knowing yourself, not the way we think about knowing ourselves, but not to know yourself and to know yourself. So the yoga is the journey from not knowing yourself to know yourself. What way? By the guidance of teacher. And the tool is yoga.
I think that's probably one of the maybe biggest takeaways that I've had from this yoga teacher training is realizing how little I actually knew about yoga, because I think for a lot of people, especially that may be based in the United States, it's, we go to a studio, a gym, you learn different asana practices, which for those of you who don't know, that's when you're on your mat and you're moving your body in certain postures. And it's so much more than that. So I think that's been a really cool thing to learn and explore through this experience.
Absolutely. See, if we only practicing the physical part of yoga in India, in this case, we never use the word yoga. We always use the word, I'm practicing asana. But what is happening in the today's world, people are practicing anything, whatever they want to practice in the name of yoga, and all the practices they are calling yoga. But please remember, like the 8 limbs of yoga, the classical Patanjali Ashtanga yoga. So asana is the 3rd limb in 8 limbs parts of yoga.
Yes, there's so much. And speaking of that, I mean, I think that a lot of people who are listening, I mean, if they're working in the farming field, which many of them are, they're using their body a lot in a very physical way as part of their job. And some people may have a yoga practice, some people may not. But I'm curious to know, what do you think would be the benefits to someone who is in a job like that of practicing yoga, whether it's the asana practice or any other parts of what yoga is?
Yeah. So in the last century, there is a great teacher named T. Krishnamacharya. So we regard him as the father of modern yoga. He used to teach the yoga asana to the soldiers, martial training. So they can remain physically fit and they can continue protecting the people in the state. So yoga really strengthens the body. But the main focus in yoga asana is the internal organ fitness. So we more focus on the prana. And along with the yoga asana, we practice the pranayama. Our physical health, please remember, physical health and the mental health is, of course, food, drink, our diets and all, but this is also the prana. The food and the drink we are eating or the drinking, what kind of prana it is releasing. So farming and the yoga practice, I see the same cause. What is the cause? To sustain the nature. And what is the nature? First, our physical body, to remain fit physically and mentally. Then only we can take care of the nature outside. So we see the physical body as the nature, the mother nature. So we are using the physical body as a tool. Same way that a farmer is seeing the physical body a tool to serve, nourish the nature.
Mm-hmm.
And the gap we are fulfilling is practicing the yogasana and pranayama. Also, please remember, to connect with the real nature outside, we need to connect with the inner nature. And that is possible through the meditation. Even you won't believe, the yogis, actually, the yogi that are living in the nature. Yoga actually develop the idea that, no, we are not going to follow any social obligations. We are going out from the society and we are going to live in the nature. Like you may have heard the word shaman. Shaman literally meaning the one who is living in the nature, solitude life, and living in the nature and finding the question that the society is never going to give you the answer. So the shaman who is living in the nature and striving to attain the moksha, the inner self. And from there the word comes ashram. So the one who is living in the place called ashram is called shravan. Means a farmer, a yogi who is living in the nature to find all the inner answer by connecting with the outer nature.
That's so interesting. And it makes me think, I mean, given the fact that most farmers are spending way more time in nature than the average person, like, is the likelihood that they are to know themselves is actually just greater because they're spending more time in that environment. It's interesting for me to think about a lot of the statistics and research that's out there talks about how high the loneliness rates are for farmers. And I can't help but think that part of what keeps you grounded in yourself, even when not in the company of others, like some of that benefit I've experienced personally through my yoga practice, both, the meditation, pranayama, asana, that, I don't know, it's like a recharge, I think, internally is what I've experienced. But it is interesting to think about that. And, I mean, there's a lot of really cool things that are out there as well about how farmers, they almost have a better sense of weather patterns than our meteorologists do, right? Because they're outside every single day. They're the ones that are working with the plants. They're noticing these subtle differences within their soil from one season to the next. And sometimes I feel like we don't give farmers enough value in our society, enough the value that I think they really deserve from the role that they play.
Absolutely. Even there is a beautiful story about the Gautam Buddha. He was a prince. He's supposed to be a great king, but he decided to live in the nature, in the forest. So the first step in a yoga is to live in the nature. And by connecting with the nature only, we can connect with our inner nature. That's the whole idea in the yoga.
There was a couple of things that you mentioned during class this semester that I wanted to dig into, and I'm particularly interested in having conversations with this topic because of the people who are listening most likely are not based in India. And one of the things you said was people in India don't see yoga as a subscription-based service. And I remember just laughing out loud when you said that because that is so typical of what I think I've seen. So I was just wondering if you can speak more to that.
Yeah, so subscription. So it's not that you are buying something and when the subscription is over, you need to recharge again. And then buy it again, then recharge again. Then buy it again. It never ends. But we see the yoga as without buying, get everything. So the first thing in a yoga is do not buy it. Do not buy in the sense, do not depend on the subscriptions. So we see the yoga as a independent free culture. As an independent free culture that is not depend on any kind of subscription. Like very good example, you don't need to pay much to learn the yoga. You don't need to subscribe to the certain guru or a dogma or a philosophy to learn the yoga or to practice the yoga. You can find it anywhere. Even maybe you find the yoga anywhere in the street, or maybe you can find the yoga in the most popular yoga studio or in the ashram. But here, it's absolutely freely available. But you need to be a little bit more smarter. You need to, like I always said if you really want to travel the India, you need to come out from the Golden Triangle. Then only you can find the real India. Same way, you can come out from the subscription-based yoga. Means the dependency yoga, you can really find the yoga. So the best way, explore the country first. And then you will understand what I mean. The yoga is there to make you free, not to make you depend on a subscription-based yoga. Also, the good thing about the yoga is the real yoga, the teacher, the gurus are not going to make you dependent mentally and emotionally. So that way yoga is also free. So the purpose of yoga is to make you free, like a free bird. Of course, in the beginning you need some help to learn how to fly. But once you know how to fly, now you are free. So that way yoga is also free from any kind of subscription.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up because I think that there's a lot of businesses out there that really pride themselves on having like this secret formula, and it's this, I don't know, not necessarily technical, but it's a specific thing that they say, if you do this, it's going to lead to this result. And I think a lot of what I'm trying to work on with farmers through some of the courses that I offer and coaching is really just teaching people how to leverage the intelligence of their own bodies and recognize that like you have the answers within you and you're not going to find them in someone else.
Sure.
I mean, maybe you can find inspiration in their story or whatever, but we have so much more power within ourselves, and I think
absolutely
a lot of people give us credit for. And so I'm hoping that that's something that farmers will take away. And even in just listening to this, it's like thinking about how often are you relying on other people to find solutions to some of, maybe the things you're trying to solve versus how much of that is innately within you in this moment.
Sure. So I always see the yoga as a secret, but open secret. It's a secret, but it's openly available to anyone. You just need to be a little bit curious, enthusiastic to find your own way. And absolutely, as you said, we all have the answer, but we don't know how to find the answer. So the yoga is provided as a tool, right measurement, measured tools, to use these tools and know the answer.
This episode of the Transcendent Farmer podcast is sponsored by Compeer Financial, a member-owned farm credit cooperative providing financial products and services to support agriculture and rural communities in Illinois, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Compeer Financial is the third largest cooperative in the farm credit system. Based in the upper Midwest with $31.9 billion in total assets, they take a forward-thinking approach to provide innovative, customized financial solutions and expertise to meet the unique needs and dreams of those they serve. Contact Sai Tao, Senior Lending Specialist at 612-597-4086 or by email at sai.tao, that's sai.thao, @compeer.com. Compeer Financial is an equal opportunity employer and provider and an equal credit opportunity lender. I feel like that relates a lot to the next quote that I had pulled out from what you had said, which is that you are the person you are looking for. I just love that. And I was wondering if you could explain more.
Yeah, so the journey is not actually outside, but the journey is inside to more deep inside. I'm not saying that we should not travel the world outside, but the person that you are looking for outside, you are already the person that you're looking for outside. Means we are all are searching the I. And where are you going to find the I? Inside the I. And I must say with my own experience, when you look more outside, look at this beautiful vast universe and the nature. It never ends. It never ends. But the moment you close your eyes, the eyes open. Where? Inside. So in meditation, we say close your eyes. So when you are closing your eyes, actually you are opening your eyes inside to find who? It's you. So and when you are opening your eyes outside, actually you are closing your eyes towards you, that is inside. So the person you are looking for, you are already the person you are looking for. Or the place you are going to travel, you already reach the place you are going to travel.
What a great conversation, right? I'm so excited to keep sharing these interviews with you and help you think differently about farming, wellness, mental health, and business development in a way that really supports who you are as a person instead of working against what society tells you that you need to do. If you're getting value out of this, one of the ways that you can support our continued production of the podcast is really simple. You can buy us a coffee because it's not just me that's producing this podcast. I actually have a team of people that support me in this work. All you have to do is visit buymeacoffee.com/MEZCLADA.co, and you can put that $5 that you would have spent on a coffee this week and invest it in a team of people and social enterprise that's working to make more space for the voices and needs of new farmers globally. As a way of saying thank you, we'll be doing a monthly post on social media with a shout out to all of our contributors because we just love you that much. Again, that's buymeacoffee.com/MEZCLADA.co, where you can buy as many cups of coffee or chai, if you're like me, as you would like. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can even become a monthly contributor. You can find all the details online, but I don't want to miss another second of this conversation. So let's get back to the episode. Do you feel like it takes courage to be able to do that, to look inside?
Absolutely. See, Viktor Frankl said beautifully, when we are not peace with our own self, we go and entertain ourselves outside in the name of amusement, entertainment, music, and all those things. Yeah, definitely it takes a lot of courage to go within. Because then you have to destroy your own I. And we don't want to destroy our own I. To face the real I that exists forever. And please remember, sooner or later we have to take a stand. To face our own true conditioning. Whatever it is, social, economical, family, or our own imposing condition. Face it. And when you face your own self, you're free from yourself. And it takes a lot of courage. That's why yoga is the journey for those who really is ready to take the courage. Not just at the physical level. Mm-hmm. Physical level, 6 months, 1 year, we can overcome the physical training. But the mental courage, we really need to face our own I. Sooner or later. Mm-hmm. So now decide when. As soon as possible.
Yes. Yeah. This episode of the Transcendent Farmer podcast is sponsored by Massage Alchemy Botanicals and Turkey Road Farm Products based in Castleton, North Dakota, and owned by Shannon Radcliffe Beach. Shannon is an organic farmer, herbalist, massage therapist, and earth mother. Her mission is to promote health and wellness by connecting people with the healing power of plants. To achieve this, Shannon crafts herbal remedies and products made from the herbs and berries she grows on her farm, as well as hosting events and classes that teach practical herbal knowledge and how to live more harmoniously with the cycles of nature. Find out more about their products and services by visiting their website or following them on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. I think there's something to be said, too, about this idea. I mean, I love this idea of divine time, is that sometimes we can be really hard on ourselves about not doing something fast enough, or we think that we're behind, especially when we start comparing ourselves to everyone else. But I'm a true believer in whenever you start your journey to understand yourself, you're at the exact perfect moment to do it. And everything that you've done and lived and experienced in life up to that point has prepared you for that as well.
Sure, absolutely. Please remember, we always believe in the yoga, no one is perfect, and you don't need to. Start with the imperfections, and soon you will reach the more imperfection. So the purpose is, we are already imperfect, and to become more imperfect, actually to free from the cycle of imperfection.
I'm sure people will be thinking about that for a while. So if people are interested in kind of digging deeper into this concept of yoga, maybe yoga philosophy, is there a place that you would recommend people begin, like start, if there's a book or podcast, what might be a good place for them to kind of learn more about this?
So first of all, if you're in the downtown or in near to your home, find any yoga studio. The first place to start your yoga journey is go to any yoga studio nearest in the downtown when you're going. Practice the very basics of yoga, that is asana. So, and if you don't find any yoga studio, YouTube is there, all the Googles and all these amazing yoga practices are there. So start your journey with the yoga asana. First, understand your own physical body. And then, history of yoga. There are many books available in the market. Then dive deep into the history of yoga. Also, please remember, yoga not only belongs to the India, but all the ancient civilization we found the similar practices. So dig deep into the history of yoga. At the same time, the culture of Hinduism. And I'm sure most of the listeners been to India, but if not, come to the India. Without any plan set up or without any destination, just come to the India. And the India will reveal to you what yoga is by itself.
I love it. I'm feeling so inspired by this conversation, and I hope you are as well. I wanted to take a moment to give a shout out to one of the Transcendent Farmer podcast's newest sponsors, the Fargo-Moorhead Wellness Collective. The FM Wellness Collective is a community of wellness practitioners in the Fargo-Moorhead area dedicated to supporting and empowering one another. They serve as a reliable resource for the community to connect with wellness professionals, making wellness more accessible and strengthening the culture of well-being in the Fargo-Moorhead area. Learn more by visiting the links in the show notes or finding the collective on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So if people want to learn more about you, kind of what you do, where would they go?
So I'm teaching all the subjects in Rishikesh offline, but also I have my website, Acharya Sadhu Sri. There I'm teaching the online courses about the language, about the mantra, about the history of yoga, Buddhism, and the Vedanta. Also, you can follow me on the Instagram with the name Sri Sadhu Sri. There I am, interacting with my students, with my friends. And please remember, this is the journey together. Here is no one is teacher, no one is students. We all are on the same path. So I would be happy to hear from you. Feel free to write me.
Wonderful. We'll make sure to include that information in the show notes for people as well so they can reach out to you. And I just wanted to close by saying thank you. Thank you so much for the light that you bring to this world. It really speaks to who you are. And I know that even in the short time that I've known you, you've really impacted the way that I see yoga as all of what it is. So thank you for that.
And thank you for this beautiful idea to combine what you are doing with the nature, with the farmers, and you have one more tool, that is yoga. And first time when you asked me to do this, I was really surprised that people are doing such a beautiful work even without noticing. Thank you for allowing me to share this knowledge with you. It was a wonderful time. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hello.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. We really appreciate it, and we will catch you next time for a future episode. If you love this conversation as much as we did, feel free to share the love by passing it along to a friend or fellow farmer, and be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss another episode. Until next time, friends.